Hello and welcome to How to Citizen Season 2,
Let's go.
Episode 4.
Whoa.
And we have a cracker of a guest for you today.
Cannot wait.
Cannot
You shouldn't
wait.
be able to wait because this is amazing.
Quite a mind blowing episode
Yeah.
we just had.
Yeah.
We are doing which chapter, Shreyas?
We are doing chapter 4, growing up as boys and girls.
Can you show them the first page, please?
Absolutely. Growing up as boys and girls. This image exemplifies all growing up that everyone has ever done. And we really get into it. We like, in a way, this is also a therapy session. Like, we go back into our childhoods, we go back to what toys we had, we talk about smashing the patriarchy, we talk about how patriarchy is also smashing the men, not just women,
Yeah,
to make it more appealing to men who don't
Yeah.
care about smashing the patriarchy because they are not affected.
yeah.
So can't wait to get into all of that.
Yeah, and also I have to tell you, Richa Chadda is an active doodler. And while we were talking, this happened. You will find out why this happened, who this is, why this is, and why this happened. Okay, so Richa has touched upon many points which are in the chapter and otherwise as well. Her
Hmm.
experiences growing up
Yeah,
and some things that are very obvious to her and not obvious to us
of course.
as men,
Of course.
growing up in joint families and also just growing up as a girl in India and
Yeah.
in Delhi for her actually.
Correct.
So let's get right into it.
Let's go.
Hello, Shreyas,
Hello. What's happening? How are you?
co-host.
How's it going?
Again,
Again.
4 years later.
Yeah, have you been studying all the books for the last 4 years? I've
I-
been preparing for this.
You have been.
I
right?
have,
Yeah,
yes.
we must prepare for this excellent regression that we are doing.
Correct.
And what an amazing set of guests we had already.
Incredible.
Incredible.
The kind of people, the kind of viewpoints we have heard, it has
Yeah.
really opened my mind to everything that is possible that can be thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's introduce to our the people to our first guest on this podcast. So this is Richa Chadda. In case you already don't know.
Where do I look? In this camera?
Anywhere.
Hi guys.
So hello Richa, and how have you been in general? Life
I've been
mein?
good. I think you made a mistake giving me this thing because I'm super distracted now and I'll keep doodling all the time. I've
But
been
that
good.
is that what you did in school also?
Doodle a lot,
Uh,
yeah.
You know?
Kind of.
Wait, I want to ask, what would be on the last page of your rough notebook or whatever?
Mostly chits.
Chits.
Mostly who to meet after in the lunch break, where to eat, which film to watch, when to bunk school,
Wow.
few illustrations,
Yeah.
and jokes about teachers.
But did you like do that thing where you like wrote something, passed on the copy, then the conversation started where someone
Yeah,
else
yeah,
wrote
yeah.
it back?
But I didn't pass it on. I just gently turned it.
Of
Ah.
course. Yes.
And then you have to distract the teacher by looking directly at the teacher
Right.
so that you're attentive.
Yeah.
But really, all your attention is focused on the side.
So much better than texting.
A lot better than texting. I think the kids of today will never know the joys of writing in the column or on the back paper.
Yeah. Or maybe they do. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of them still do it.
No, I think they talk in GIFs.
That's also true. That's also true. Yes.
Words are also gone.
The
Now it's
world has
just-
changed.
The world has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sad about that?
I'm sad about certain aspects of
Hmm.
the changing world.
Right.
Like growing autocracy in the world
Ah.
and climate change, other such minor problems.
Minor problems, very minor problems. To begin with, I want to ask you, which school did you go to?
I went to first a very hippie school called East Point School, which was quite unorthodox in the sense that it was literally run out of a little building with one patch of green in the back, which we could access as a school playground. It was started by this, I think, Irish woman who moved to India around the independence, and then her son was taking care of it. And it was a really tiny school, but it was interesting because they didn't have any time limit on your exams.
Wow.
I mean, that's been my experience actually.
But was this in Delhi?
It was in Delhi.
Oh.
First,
And-
I went to a school called Lady Irwin College. There was a subsidiary for like like what is it called, the preschool
Huh,
school.
preschools, yeah.
Preschool, so LKG, upper KG, and whatever.
So,
But I had special kids in my class.
oh,
I had kids with Down syndrome and whatever in
Huh.
my class.
Mhm.
So I never grew up feeling like they are any different, which
Okay.
was really incredible.
Mhm.
And we would have races where everyone could run and everyone won
Oh,
because there
wow.
was no competition. So I've been kind of lucky.
What
That
a
was my
utopia.
preschool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had classes in the open, in the
Hmm.
trees and all things like that. Then East Point School, again, I found that they didn't really have, I mean, they had good teachers,
Hmm.
some. But mostly they didn't have, like there were times when I was given an exam and they were just like, chalo theek hai aur likh lo. And then once I asked the teacher, he was a PT teacher, he's like, it shouldn't be about how fast you can write. So I was
What?
like, that's very
Wow, for a
profound.
PT teacher to possess that understanding, that is
Yeah.
amazing.
But it was really a very tiny school. So I don't know what happened to it, what became of it. I know at some point the management changed. So I
Yeah.
really can't vouch for anything at the
Correct.
moment. But I
But during
studied
your
there
time.
till class, I think 6.
Right.
Right.
And then I moved to Sardar Patel.
Sardar Patel.
Yeah.
That was a CBSE school? Or-
That was a CBSE school, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya in Lodi Road.
Oh, Lodi Road, yes.
So all these ministers that you see today,
Yeah.
the kids were in class with me.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So do you know some famous ministers' kids like personally now?
Yeah, but I don't think they'd want to know me because I was quite a bully.
Oh, you were a bully.
Only with them, like I would be like, "Tera baap haar gaya," because it was so public, you know,
Yeah.
and it was also very evident. Ke acha, abhi you are now coming in a Maruti 800, then you come in a Maruti 1000.
Right.
And then an exam is exam bol rahe hain, it feels like that. But an election has been won, so suddenly there's like an S class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then when the
You gotta bully them then.
then
What
you
else?
have a reverse, then you have to bully
Of course.
bully them.
Of
We
course.
had also CPIM members का kids who were बेचारे वो तो चल के बस स्टॉप
हाँ,
तक जा
of
रहे
course.
थे.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it was really like you had to balance between who to bully and how much.
And this is very fascinating. So in Parliament also, we have like all these CPM MPs, and all MPs are allotted houses, no? Like Delhi mein.
Yeah.
So some of them want like independent houses, but it's based on seniority and closeness to the bureaucrats and the people. Like usually, what happens is CPIM ke log, they have this entire building with like these tiny 2-room houses.
Right.
And it's literally, there are no walls in the houses. And it's like a servant quarter which is also given out to other MPs. So these CPM MPs live there with like a parda in the middle. So like there is a kitchen, there is a parda in the middle, there is a bed. And then you go there and like I had like people who worked with CPM MPs. I went to one of them, D. Raja's house. And he's like, this humble house, what is happening here? And he's the leader of the CPM
Yeah.
party in parliament, was back then. It was very fascinating. Like all these CPM MPs like make an effort to sort of look like, oh, we are one of you, sort of a thing.
But they were really one of us.
They were,
I've
no?
given sometimes lunch money also.
Arre.
So
that's
Yeah.
nice. That's, nice.
That's
That's very nice of you. So you were bullying and also giving out lunch money.
Multifaceted. You were.
I
it
was
both.
bullying the kids who deserve to be bullied in
Correct.
my
Correct.
mind. When I tell you who they are
Huh.
later after this is over,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then you'll agree with me.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. So guys, you will not hear that, unfortunately. So that's privileged
I'm
information.
so sorry.
Yeah.
And how were you in class? Like, were you someone who sat on the first bench, on the last bench? Would you raise your hand?
I was a duplicitous character
Okay.
because all the teachers thought I was their pet.
Oh. And
They
you made them
thought
think.
so.
They thought so.
Ah.
I went to extra lens
Too?
to ensure that they thought
Of
so.
course, of course.
Because my own mother was a teacher. She used to teach in a college.
Right.
So I was always respectful, and at the back of my mind, I was like, I have to be nice to them.
Correct.
And I was really nice, and with some I had great relationships. They've
Amazing.
been very seminal in shaping the kind of person I am.
Nice.
But sometimes it was just a show.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you made an effort to obviously be the teacher's pet.
No, to look like it at least.
To look like it, yeah.
And
Just
to-
the appearance of it.
Yeah.
But were you good at like academic, sports?
Very.
All of it.
Not sports so much, but I was good at all the other stuff, like obviously theater, dancing, music.
Sports you
That
went
was
good because
more-
there's no one winning in the race. Everyone's running. Right?
Everyone-
That's why.
No, surprisingly, in this Sardar Patel also that same thing continued. They had
What is this?
They-
What different country are you from? Like everyone that we have ever had on this
they
podcast.
didn't have they had like records. So we had a full week of sports activity.
Wow.
We had javelin, shot put, everything that typically in schools you don't have in
Right.
Bombay because यहाँ एक तो जगह नहीं है.
जगह नहीं है, exactly.
बेचारे. So in Delhi we had football, basketball, cricket in our school. In fact,
Wow.
our cricket team was very like gave a lot of cricketers to the national team
Acha.
also.
Oh, damn.
So it was a Sardar Patel cricket team was why you went to Sardar Patel,
Oh,
kind of.
wow.
Okay.
But so we had very hectic sports actually, and in a week full of hectic sports. But it was always like, oh, Jyoti House breaks this record. Last year, this was 1500 meters. Ka record was broken. But everybody who ran within a stipulated time
Right.
was given a qualification certificate.
Of course.
Get
So
it?
participation trophies given to.
Yeah.
No. It's like if you are 40 kgs,
Huh.
5 feet,
Huh.
and in class 11, you will run in Group B or Group C.
Sure.
Oh.
So you participated with
People
wow,
in the
I
same.
think this is a great school actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you participated with people who were your height and build,
That makes sense.
and then if you covered like say 1500 meters
Yeah.
in 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes, जो भी होता था, then you got a qualification thing, and your
Amazing.
marks were added to the tally of the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is this?
Both of
What
us are
is this?
short kids who have been discriminated against in our sports classes
Yeah.
because, like in a basketball, like people are just like jumping over us.
Yeah.
This is a
And they
should
would
be
still
real
put
role.
you in the team. Huh? That's the cruel part of it. So you are like this tiny little child who is like thin and whatever. And I had a tendency to puke all the time because
Oh,
I had like
God.
lactose intolerance.
Undiagnosed lactose intolerance.
Now it's diagnosed. I
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
back then.
हाँ, back then the mummy would be like दूध पी
हाँ,
ले.
दूध पी ले क्या गर्मी में डालो दूध में आइस दूध बन गया very nice,
Very nice.
that ad, right?
The
But-
campaigns from our childhood.
yes. But this is nice, huh? This is a utopian school I want
It
to go
is. I have no idea how this was even possible.
Well, I mean, Nandita Das, Konkana,
to. Huh.
Swara Bhaskar,
Oh,
Shahana
everyone's from
Goswami, Sabha Azad.
Oh,
damn.
wow.
Makes sense, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
now it
Kind
makes
of,
sense. Now,
yeah.
now it makes a lot of sense. Yes. This is the generation of people who have come out of this school and are now, icons
I'm just
in
telling you,
their own right.
across generations, these are the people who've come on, but they, tend to represent a certain kind of
Right.
utopian
Yeah.
idea
Yes.
ideal of society.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Correct. You don't know. You don't speak
I
for
don't
it now.
know.
You don't know what's
yeah,
up.
you don't
it was
know.
also being run by the Gujarat Education Board. So
Yeah, but, things change maybe.
things change.
But yeah, so to the ones who are listening on audio, if you want an immersive experience, there is a link right below in the description which will lead you to a Google Drive, which will have all the chapters that we are using for this podcast. This is chapter number 4 that we are going to talk about. So you can just download it and read it with us.
And see, to the people listening, we know you didn't do these readings when you were in actually 7th grade. This is a way to repair those mistakes and actually get into the chapter again.
Why though? Why do you want to repair anything? It's fine. टूटा रहने दो. It's fine. क्या करना है? दुनिया तो regress हो ही रहा है. That's why we went. So Richa, just to tell you, season
I do not
1
agree with him, by the way.
Thank you.
I really
Thank
think,
you.
please, किताबें पढ़ो और.
Yes.
Thank you. See, that's why balance. There are people who will be like, क्या ही करना है? And there are people who are like, नहीं करना है. But just to let you know, so our season 1 was 8th standard chapters, right?
Okay.
Now it's 7th standard.
Yeah.
So people have been.
I was fighting
basically-
for 9th standard.
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
But then I was like, the society has regressed, guys.
Yeah.
And we need to regress as well.
I don't know if society is really regressed because everything tells a different tale. When you meet people, they're like, oh, we are speaking of gender, but there is a greater acceptance in entertainment, in pop culture, in
right.
other places of LGBTQI, etc.
Yeah.
True.
It does feel like politics has definitely regressed.
Yes.
I think that's by design.
That's by design.
That's
I
by design.
agree. Actually, I agree. But then, in a way, content consumption has also kind of regressed. And
Like
that-
what?
Like content consumption in the sense, I think TV has become stupider over time.
It's because
Um,
it shifted consumption patterns.
Yes.
When our parents were our age,
Hmm.
they were watching quality, locally produced TV shows like
Yes.
like Bunyad, like Hum Log or Nukkad. You
Yeah.
know, Syed Akhtar Mirza, Sai Paranjape. These were the people directing on TV.
Right.
Then when we also grew up a little bit, it was still Anurag Basu, Anurag Kashyap, है ना?
Correct.
Those kind of star bestsellers, kind of
Correct.
those things that were coming on, like say one metro channel or another satellite channel, and then Banegi Apni Baat.
Right.
But as that shifted, also as urban India, became more and more bilingual, more English accepting, we started watching Friends,
Yeah.
Right.
Grey's Anatomy. I
Right.
mean, whatever. And then now, then there came a time when TV had to regress to retain its audience.
Correct.
So they
So
had
TV is just following the audience.
they no, so the I mean, I'm telling you this as an entertainment person,
Yes,
because
correct.
I observe,
Of course.
because I feel like, how is it that the people who were watching Bunyad and Hum Log before are now watching Nagin and
Yeah.
those other
Correct.
super like
Right.
Tisri
How
Aankh
how
shows.
has a South Bahu drama suddenly like a woman turning into a Nagin? It's like what is
Yeah.
happening even?
Yeah.
Like,
And then so people like you and me who can't relate to that content but have TV sets at home
yeah.
watch news and sports on it,
Right.
and now increasingly not even on satellite TV.
Yeah.
And the Nagin watchers are still watching Nagin
Of course they are.
and the long running shows for 15-20 years. Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, Bhabhi Ji Ghar Pe Hain.
Right.
These are the shows that have gone on forever. CID gone
Right.
on forever and
Yes.
ever and ever. So there must be a core audience that remains unchanged.
Correct.
But that's the
So-
thing. So take CID for example, right? CID is still, I think, one of my favorite shows growing up, right? I remember they did this special episode. It was called CID 90 or something, right? It was a one-shot camera case solving thing where ACP Pradyuman and all the people are running around and trying to solve a case in one house.
Oh.
Okay. And it was a fabulous episode.
Wait, it was one
scripted-
shot?
One shot. Like
What?
the entire thing was 90 minutes, one shot. Sony पे चला था वो, कोई ad break नहीं था बीच में. And I was stunned at the quality of that episode. I mean, थोड़ा dramatized तो
Yeah.
था. But from there, I saw like, what is happening to this show where किसी का तो भी पुनर्जन्म हो गया, like अभिजीत मर के वापस आ गया, and then दया दरवाजा तोड़ दो has gone to next level, दरवाजा टूट के कहीं और पहुंच जाता है.
Oh.
It went wild later,
Well,
right?
so I've never actually seen it,
Hmm.
but I know these characters through memes.
Correct.
Yes, of
Correct.
course, of course. But let's get to the chapter actually.
Yeah.
So what are your first thoughts about this chapter? You have read it, right?
I've read it. My first thoughts are actually it's like NCRT has come a long way from when we were children and
Right.
when we were, because we probably had fundamental rights and duties, respect the national flag and preamble of the constitution,
Right.
etc.
Yes.
when we were in class 7.
Correct.
But this is already gender.
Yeah.
This is already unpaid housework,
Right. Right.
different cultures.
True.
Yeah.
So I was really pleasantly surprised. I was like, ये India की ही किताब है क्या? And then when I saw examples from India,
Yeah.
then I was like quite.
Quite impressed.
I'm very impressed.
You're very impressed.
Yeah.
But one thing that I found missing about this chapter, just
I'm
as
sure
a-
there's tons missing.
Of course.
But from the 90s to come to this
Right.
is a lot.
Fair.
Yeah.
The missing part which I was coming to was, of course, trans rights
Correct.
and trans people.
Yeah.
They still haven't found any mention in the book,
Yeah.
which is I think tragic, but
In fact,
pleasantly
India is
surprised
the
like you.
country of the kinnar,
Yes,
we have
absolutely.
to have that. I mean, we'll get to it. I
Yeah,
think.
we
Yeah.
will get to it.
We have to.
You want to start, Shreyas, by
Sure.
reading this out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are we going to actually read the whole chapter?
No. we
Just
are
go
not.
through things.
We are
I'm
face
seeing
reading.
the
Are you
class
sure you
topper who's
have-
like, I've already studied the chapter. I don't need to go through it again. I'm seeing the class topper bully, like all these things come out.
I mean, I really hope you have listeners.
Yeah. Oh, we have many listeners.
Oh, you do?
Richa, you would be
Okay.
surprised.
Guys,
No,
if
but-
you are actually a listener of How to Citizen, please drop me an emoji on Twitter, because I don't believe these guys actually read out civics chapters and you hear them.
You'd
It's
be
like the
surprised
most-
actually. But before we start that, we should establish the environment, no? So Richa, tell us, in your school, was there one favorite
Why I'm very
place?
scared of this environment. Actually, I should request for more coffee. I have a feeling
Yeah.
as soon as you start reading, I will start feeling sleepy.
Oh, no, we won't
It's
let
the
that.
mechanism of
Of-
being in a class.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, but I'll set the environment so then you know what is happening, okay?
Yeah.
So tell us a place in your school that you remember where you and your friends went to chill. Describe it to me.
When to chill,
Yeah, went to chill.
we would go to obviously the water cooler,
Okay.
which was at the back of the school and had really cool thanda water just
Oh,
come
wow.
straight out of the tap.
Right.
And it was next to the bookshop and the library, etc.
Hmm.
And also, that's like the place where girls first make non-veg jokes and tell their friends things. So it was quite cute. Then the playground, the field,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Then we had this, we had the chakra, a beautiful brass embossed thing in the right at the entry of our school, which was the Ashoka's chakra.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, of course.
So we would hang out there.
Oh.
Meet me at the chakra. Meet me in the field. Meet me
Yeah.
at the basketball court.
So we
meet
will
me
meet
at
her.
the chakra sounds so mythological. Yeah, meet me at the chakra for some non-veg jokes.
Yeah, no non-veg jokes. Under that. Just
No
mostly-
non-veg jokes under the chakra, okay?
But the field, it had
Yeah.
it had like lots of green, and
That sounds
it was
lovely.
really
Yeah,
big.
that
It was
sounds
like
lovely.
2 football fields.
So we will sit near the chakra then?
We'll sit near the chakra, but we'll also have some water cooler, cold water around. Can we
Around.
get some cold water actually?
Yeah.
And there's some cold water around, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
that happening.
Are
There's
you
a
actually ordering, or because I would like a coffee?
Yeah. So we
yeah.
can get it, of course.
Oh, you were making a joke?
No.
No.
Nothing is a joke. Everything is half sincere, half ironic. You know.
That's
So-
my life.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all of our lives.
Yeah.
But the point is that we are going to pretend that we are students,
Okay.
and we are sitting there where you used to chill, and we are
Yeah.
going to go through this chapter because हमारा exam है.
Literally no student ever to chill picked up a book. Okay.
But think about it, like right before the exam.
I have a very clear visual of you and I being in class together and then having an equation. You know what I mean?
Aw, that's really sweet. I can imagine that also.
Wait,
to be
what's the
honest.
equation? Are you guys rivals?
No,
What's
I
the-
bully him.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I was that child, no, like who was like running around, like. But then that was a nice school, so maybe I would be a different person.
That's true.
Also.
That's true.
Like because वो race में कोई pressure नहीं होगा ना मेरे पे.
क्लास में भी नहीं था
क्लास
first.
में भी pressure
Top
नहीं था.
6 लोगों का नाम एक साथ आता था.
So we might get along then.
Right.
She might bully me from time to time, but I feel like we would have.
But
But I'll also protect him if there was other bullies.
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
I think that's his face. It's a cute face.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
In Tamil we say pavam.
Pavam.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I'm a Pavam child in school.
Yeah.
But so we are chilling there, okay, Richa?
Yeah.
And
You have just bullied some politician's kid. You are like, I need a fucking break from talking shit about all these politicians. So now we are here and we are going through the chapter. And I'm going to just talk about a sentence that really stood out to me. I want your thoughts on this.
This is from the teacher's note.
This is from the teacher's note.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that stood out to me in this chapter was that gender is often mistakenly thought to be something that concerns women or girls alone.
Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you think about that sentence? Like, I think in a way it's an honest sentence because it just shows that how like society perceives men or male as the default and everything else is in correlation to that.
I think it's just a simplistic writing down of how society perceives gender.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's very interesting. This is a teacher's note. So I think these are notes that they give in the book so that the teacher can teach it well, like whatever is
Oh,
coming up, right?
acha.
So, I mean, I don't think the students are supposed to read this, but it's like giving tips to teachers to how you should teach the chapter that is coming up, right? And I'm very, as you said, Richa, I think I'm also very surprised that they are genuinely talking about gender fluidity here.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
that
yeah.
gender is a societal concept where you do not have to sort of strictly obey by some rules set by society. So I think
Yeah.
this line that you just read out, gender is often mistakenly thought to be something that concerns women or girls alone. I don't know if it's true or not, but I would say that
It tends to be true mostly.
it does, right? So what do you think about that? Like, I mean, what do you think about that sentence?
It's fantastic. It's like saying, hey, it's a nicer way of saying women's rights are human rights.
Right. True.
And
right.
also saying that if there is a gender problem, it will eventually affect us all. Even prima
Correct.
facie, it may seem like it's
Very
only a
true.
girl's
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's true. And I mean, that's the thing. So, like, if you read the teacher's note, guys, we are not going to read it. If you read it, you will realize what I'm saying. Because Richa just burst out laughing.
People are not reading chapters. We want them to read teacher's note. I mean, I love how ambitious we are. That's great.
No,
नहीं मेरे को एक्चुअली यूनिकॉर्न जैसे लग रहे हैं तुम्हारे लिसनर्स मेरे को देखने हैं कुछ
हाँ ना?
Nahi, look, sincerely, like there are thousands of downloads on the PDF for the last season where
So-
people go through the chapter.
Just
while
to give
listening
you
to it.
just to give you an idea, Richa, how amazing this podcast is. I'll just tell you. So we keep a link right niche. So I can see how many people have downloaded it.
oh really
Yeah, so like thousands of people go and download these chapters.
yeah
okay?
yeah send me a screenshot
I will.
She doesn't
she
believe
doesn't
it.
I
believe
really
us.
don't believe it
She doesn't believe
because
us.
in our business also people release a trailer then they buy 2 million likes and they're like 2 million likes by lunchtime and I'm like हमें पता है तुमने ये कैसे किया
Yes, we are not making
but
this
oh
up.
that's okay but
Yeah.
I would still
But
love-
still, हजार
love-
लोग.
I would love a screenshot
Yes, I will do that.
of your stats
Just doesn't trust us.
लोग सुनने आते हैं ये अच्छी बात
Yes,
है
yes. I like this. I like this. Okay, so we can start with the first page.
Yeah. So growing up as boys and girls,
Yes.
this is chapter 4. Being a boy or a girl is an important part of one's identity. The society we grow up in teaches us what kind of behavior is acceptable for girls and boys, what boys and girls can or cannot do. Now, I just want to ask, I want to go back to 7th standard, go back to 13 years old. Richa, what do you remember? What are things that, like, do you remember any disparities that, like, this was the thing that boys are doing that you couldn't do? You know, like, what is the basic societal difference between what can be done?
I mean, mostly it was like my nanny who would say really ridiculous things like, stop jumping on the bed, you're 7, no one will marry you. And my mom would be like, it's not the 1920s, you know. Mostly it was her. But I grew up by and large in a joint family for most of my childhood. And I had 4 brothers,
Right.
as in 3 cousins and 1 real brother. So
Correct.
in my head, there was no...
Nice. Everything, everyone was.
Nice.
Yeah.
We had, but also like it gives you a sense of teamwork and like
Correct.
collaboration and watching out for each other,
Mhm.
also hitting each other.
Yeah.
That's a part of the process, I
Yeah.
think. But
But you didn't have a conservative upbringing or anything of that sort. You're saying.
no, I had visits by very very conservative relatives, which really shook me.
Mm.
But I mean, that's who they are.
Yeah.
But like I mean I remember like my parents for example I remember like I had like this giant teddy bear collection at some point which is like
Nice.
you know like these plushies.
We'll bully him later for this in
Yes,
the
of
next
course,
short
yeah.
break.
No. I like.
Yeah, you like it as
Yeah.
well. But then there was a point where I remember this. There was a point when बहुत photos थे मेरे उसके साथ, and then there was a point where they just disappeared. Right, and I later I think had a conversation with my mom about where did they go, and I was like, no, like after a point we thought you're grown up and you're a boy, so we shouldn't let you play
Oh,
with
like
stuffed
that.
toys. So we replaced it with GI Joes.
Oh,
Right?
God.
You remember those
Yeah,
GI
yeah, of
Joes
course,
action figures, right? So it was like, but so they decided in their head that now this boy is becoming a man, so can't play with soft toys anymore. Action figures they do.
No, my parents are also really. I mean, obviously, my parents are really cool, right?
Right.
They're sending me to these schools.
Correct.
So my first doll was a rubber doll male, which was kind of like, should I doodle?
Yeah,
please.
sure. Please.
His
go
name
ahead.
was Pintu.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that was a name I gave him, which is funny.
Okay.
I don't know why I gave him that.
Pintu was the doll's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a gender neutral name also.
That's
Pintu.
true actually.
Yeah.
But Pintu can be a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a man.
Oh, it was a man.
It
okay.
was like very obviously male.
Huh?
I don't know why my mom gave it to me as a doll, but it was quite like cute. See,
Oh, that
Oh.
was okay. What is he wearing?
he was wearing a red, like a red pant and
Huh.
red trousers
Oh,
and a
okay.
red headgear,
Yeah.
which was. I really don't understand this toy at this point. It's becoming like a therapy lesson. But yeah, I had Pintu with me at all times.
Wow.
But they never took Pintu away from you.
No, they never took Pintu away.
What happened to Pintu? Died? Like got burned somewhere?
हाँ,
I think
कुछ-
it's still there.
That's dark. Sorry, I don't want Pintu to
कुछ
die.
हुआ होगा पिंटू को और my parents are actually extra. I think they made me give Pintu away to a younger child to
Oh.
teach me
Ah.
how to let go.
Oh
Damn.
wow.
Wow.
Okay, that's. I mean, I guess that's a good lesson.
It's
to
a very
teach
good lesson to
child,
teach.
yeah.
It's a very good
Like,
lesson.
Yeah.
give up on your best friend.
I
and
think
hand
that's
it
what
off
they
to someone
they
else.
often gave my stuff to when they saw that I had not used it in 6 months or a year.
Right.
They would have. This is the other thing about living in a joint family. You learn to
Right.
share.
You learn
True.
to share, yeah.
True.
And that happened to me also. I mean, like I also grew up in a joint family,
Yeah.
and like I had clothes were passed down
Yeah.
obviously. Like after you grow up.
In
and-
fact, I think a joint family with either separate kitchens or is a perfect setup to explore gender in. Somehow it's nicer and easier for kids because it takes a village and whatnot.
Right.
And like if someone travels, then the other person's there.
You have gotten their back.
If
Yeah.
there's grief, then you share it together.
True.
I mean, of course there are fights, but who doesn't fight?
Yeah.
And whatever. But I really feel if here is where the unpaid housework bit.
Mm.
Why
Yeah.
most splits happen are because of property or because of one woman doing more for the entire than the other woman.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And somehow all these duties only fall on the women anyway. So it's bizarre.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is unquestioned, and that's
Yeah.
just I've kind of, even for as progressive as my parents are, but this is like the default setting of
Right.
society. So
Correct.
Absolutely.
they
Correct.
easily regress into these roles.
Yeah.
So,
I-
it's kind of, if this aspect is sorted, joint families are great to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I'm
patriarch
not so-
matriarch ना हो कोई अगर
Right.
Yeah.
थोड़ा egalitarian हो तो अच्छा है.
But that's the thing. So like it only works if it's like a setting like maybe yours, because my joint family, I didn't really like growing up in a joint family.
Or really,
No, एक तो privacy नहीं था. Always there was like something or the other happening, some drama.
no, yeah,
was
that's like
happening.
easier when you have different floors and things. वो
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
geographical
yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
really
yeah.
makes a difference.
No, we had like a like decentish big house in
Yeah.
Nagpur, right? And we had like separate rooms, all of that. But just the drama, no. Sometimes it got too much, like within the family, like bahuon ke beech mein, saas, bahu, then fathers and
Nagin.
uncles.
Was
and,
there a Nagin after this at all?
That would be funnier. though. Like, I mean,
15
like-
years later.
Yeah. But the interesting point about
Again, I mean, sorry to be
Yeah.
Marxist here, but
No.
you'll find a thing of unpaid, overworked women finally losing their shit with each other and then finding other reasons to fight also.
No, I
Like, that's the main reason it stems from.
yes.
I feel like it can, because it can always be like, यार मैं इतना साफ रखती हूँ, तुम गंदा क्यों रखती हो? और मैंने अभी पोछा लगाया था, तुम चप्पल पहन के आ गई.
Correct. Correct.
That's it. It triggers a war.
Correct.
But that is what happened, right? Like one of my aunts would do like something
आप
else. and-
चैप्टर मत पढ़ो, बात करते हैं.
हाँ, वही करना है एक्चुअली. ये तो एक्सक्यूज है गाइस. तो तुम मतलब कोई स्ट्रिक्टली हम थोड़ी करने वाले हैं कुछ. आई लव द इमेज. The image is interesting. एक हथौड़ा भी है वहाँ पे for some reason. चाइल्ड के पीछे एक हथौड़ा है वहाँ पे. एक चाबी, गाड़ी की चाबी है. Like वहाँ पे रखा है वहाँ पे बाजू में.
You know what I'm not seeing here?
different, the ling.
हाँ. Like हथौड़ा,
I think,
screwdriver.
listen,
Huh?
let's just be honest.
Huh.
This is not the best illustration or artwork. However, they have really tried to keep it gender neutral in a way.
हाँ बोलो.
Gender neutral and I don't know. And then just inserted other
Yeah, that's
emojis.
right.
and-
There's like a frock, there's a computer, but there's also a hatoda, there's a
There's
bat.
also jeans, there's a mukka, there's a balan.
Yeah, बेलन है. There's a
नहीं.
shaving. There's a
No, it's not
shaving. thing.
balan. It's a.
I see a lipstick also.
Yeah.
This
there's
is a
lipstick.
bat.
There's a bat.
There's a bat.
There's a bat and a book and a Hot Wheels car and a matka, computer, wallet.
This is that
lipstick.
plow. फार्म में जो plow use करते हैं
हल,
वो
हल.
ये है.
हल बोल
हल
Hull.
हल right
टोपी झाड़ू
सब कुछ है मतलब
सबको हाँ सब दे हैव रियली ट्राइड और
They've
उनको पता नहीं चला होगा बच्चे को कैसे डिपिक्ट करे तो उन्होंने
they just drew a stick
Yeah.
figure because
Looks a
that's
little like Pinto, I'll be honest. I'm seeing some, I think second cousins maybe हो
पिंटू
सकते हैं
या
Pinto.
हो सकते हैं
One thing I'm not seeing here, Meghna, sorry to trigger you, is a teddy bear. Still don't see
Oh,
a teddy
of
bear
course,
here.
I don't
Sorry.
see it either. There's a pin too, as you said,
That's
Vapit. So it's okay. Richa will be happy.
yeah there is a
Yeah.
Pintu
But moving on to the next page, you know what the interesting thing about this was, Richa, that they used a example of someone in the 1920s from Samoa, and then they immediately went to Madhya Pradesh after that in 1960s.
perhaps yeah
And you know, so just to like give context to whoever is not aware of what this chapter is, so the point that they're trying to make here is that there is a kid who is growing up in Samoa in the 1920s, and the whole point is that young people there are learned to take when they grow up, they are taught very practical skills like
Yeah.
fishing and going and hunting and whatever, and there they don't discriminate between boys and girls. Basically, the girls when they grow up they do the same thing, the boys when they grow up they do the same
Yeah.
thing.
it's kind I feel like I honestly feel that there could have been an example from within India, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the northeast, the matrilineal
Precisely.
societies, or in Kerala.
Yeah.
Right.
But अभी मैं आई एम थिंकिंग फ्रॉम द पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू द बुक राइटर इट्स
Hmm.
पॉसिबल दैट उन्होंने वो सब एग्जांपल्स डाले हो
हाँ.
मणिपुरी women, Assamese women in their vegetable market,
Right.
or
Mhm.
women in Kerala fishing,
Hmm.
और women in Maharashtra working the field. So उनको लग गया हो कि कोई ऑफेंड होके केस कर देगा तो उन्होंने सोचा अच्छा एग्जाम्पल Samoan Island.
But you know the negative example is from Madhya Pradesh. So I mean,
नहीं मध्य प्रदेश का नेगेटिव एग्जाम्पल इज जस्ट what we can all very universally agree on.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
uh,
It's hard to vouch for this, even though things are changing
yeah,
very
even
rapidly.
yeah.
We've had whatever, but I'm saying it's hard to vouch for this. By and large, everyone will agree कि ये तो बुरी बात है,
हाँ,
है
बुरी
ना?
बात है, हाँ.
तो बुरी बात है तो there's this thing के
let me just read out this one section to give context to what you just said. So Madhya Pradesh is in 1960s. From class 7th onwards, boys and girls went to separate schools. The girls' school was designed very differently from the boys' school. They had a central courtyard where they played in total seclusion and safety from the outside world. The boys' school had no such courtyard, and our playground was just a big space attached to the school. Every evening, once the school was over, the boys watched as hundreds of schoolgirls crowded the narrow streets. As the girls walked on the streets, they looked so purposeful. Where is this going?
it's going somewhere nice actually.
This was unlike the boys who used the streets as a place to stand around idling, to play, to try out tricks with their bicycles. For the girls, the street was simply a place to get straight home. The girls always went in groups, perhaps because they also carried fears of being teased or attacked. This is 1960s Madhya Pradesh,
Yeah.
is what they are saying. But I
Correct.
can imagine this being 2022 Madhya Pradesh also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
or
sure.
Uttar Pradesh, or
Haryana.
Maharashtra,
Anywhere.
or Haryana.
Haryana, where women, girls complained to the CM also that we're not being able to go to the school because these
Yeah.
boys on the way are teasing us.
But like growing up, Richa, did you have?
Of course, I grew up in Delhi.
Huh, exactly. So
Yeah.
like, is this like an accurate description of what you also experienced?
I'm maybe not as purposeful because I don't have to walk long distances. Maybe 200, 250 meters or 500 meters at the most. But I did get teased a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So was it traveling in groups? Like what was the way?
It was traveling in groups, but no one made a deal of it. I'm like, honestly, if you grew up in Delhi, you're treated like a speed breaker because
yeah.
it's so
Oh, no.
rampant and
Yeah.
it's so irritating. And women
Right.
just, we are not as phased by it as you might think.
Right. Right.
But
Like it becomes like an everyday thing, unfortunately.
no, but
so.
I did have someone who used to follow me in the same car every day at that time.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
God.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a very.
In retrospect, I feel very stupid because I never got scared because I saw the guy driving was some like 16-year-old cute boy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bigger than you already.
Right.
I can beat you. But I mean, you can call it harassment. I mean, I was harassed by his presence, and
Right.
but I'm saying, this is the.
I mean, it's normalized, is what you're saying?
I'm not saying it's normal.
I mean, it was normalized then, where you didn't see it as something.
What are you guys saying? Normalize. कोई तुम्हें लग रहा है कोई normalized? What do you You normalize eating pizza in India.
Okay.
Right? Because it comes from Italy and America and God knows what.
Sure.
Right.
But you're saying normalized eve teasing as if you didn't grow up here, guys.
No,
Open
I
your
didn't.
goddamn eyes.
Of course,
It's
yeah.
everywhere all the time.
All
It's
the
a
time.
rite of passage.
Of course.
There's literally no woman I know who has not been through some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I agree with you. I mean,
Normalize
but-
nahi, matlab you just deal with it like it's carbon monoxide in the air that you're
Right.
breathing.
Uh-huh.
You choose to filter in oxygen. It's so rampant and it's so irritating, and I can't wait for it to finally be so old that you can say words like normalize.
So
Yeah.
if you were writing this book, right?
Yeah.
If you were the one writing this book,
This book.
yeah.
Okay.
Would you then, instead of 1960s Madhya Pradesh, would you put like 2022 Delhi there?
It's easier to put 1960s Madhya Pradesh na, because we all assume कि ये वाली बुकें तो outdated होती ही हैं, और दूसरी बात के it becomes like it's in the past. It's like a distant past.
That's the thing. That's what I was coming to.
It's
right?
very annoying. They can easily say 2012
Yeah.
Delhi.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And that's what I have a bit of a problem with this book
Example.
also. That just that, you know, you are giving examples from 1920s Samoa, then 1960s Madhya Pradesh, but this is happening today.
Yeah.
Like when I asked her, is this normalized? I mean that it's still happening.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? But why are you not courageous enough to actually say that? Like, why aren't you teaching kids today that, guys, this is still happening?
Right.
Around you in your neighborhood.
1960s, it creates this illusion that this was a thing of the past, and now we have come forward.
Right.
Like that's the unsaid
1960s
context.
would be when some of the kids who are reading this, even their parents would not be born in 1960s.
Right.
That's true. That's very
Right.
true.
People who have kids who are 13 will be in their 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
उनके माँ बाप
Born
वो खुद 80s
80s born. Yeah.
90s में born हुए होंगे,
Correct.
80s में born हुए होंगे.
That's
So
true. That's
it's a
true.
really
So even the
ridiculous
parents
thing.
can't relate to it, basically.
I mean, parents can possibly. Parents who are maybe born in 1950s, but I'm saying ये जो पढ़ रहे हैं उनके पेरेंट्स सब born 1960s के 20 साल
Yeah,
बाद पैदा
yeah.
हुए.
Correct.
You know.
In very interesting ways.
But this big props.
I am going to get to
Wait
that
there, na?
abhi.
Acha.
Just after I make one
Shit.
tiny
Any
point.
and all
Yeah.
attempts to pass through the reading quickly. तो मैं तो बहुत कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि हम चैप्टर ना पढ़ें.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. Listeners, presenting to you Club Saris Says, the premium tier offerings of our podcast. Club members will get exclusive Cock and Bull episodes every Monday, extended and unfiltered versions of the guest episodes, access to the Club Saris Says Discord server, and audio offerings such as ad-free episodes and early access to guest episodes. Also, members get to decide the topics of the live episodes and get their name on the producer's slate at the end credits. On Cock and Bull, it's a cricket special episode featuring Akash and Sriram. They answer some AMAs from their listeners. On the Vox podcast, Monica talks to Tina Sidana, Business Development Head of Alexa Voice Services at Amazon. They discuss the key aspects of voice and audio marketing, content marketing, and advertising. On All Things Policy, Leah and Harshit discuss the importance and requirement of sex education in schools. And on Vartalab, Akash and Naveen have a fun chat with me, Abbas Momin, stand-up comedian and podcaster. They spoke about how Abbas, that's me, went from studying dentistry to writing and performing comedy and podcasts and his love for movies. Once again, don't forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have some exciting stuff for you over there. Follow us on social media via IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, spread the word, tell your friends, and don't forget to rate and review them wherever you're listening to them. You'll also find all our shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcast. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week: LIC of India, Yono SBI, Cash Free Payments, and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you for making this possible.
So we will move on to the fun part,
Yes.
Richa, which is the comic. Do you want to pick a character that you want to play? We are going to do a role play
Okay. In
ठीक
the
in the comic.
in the this such a graphic.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Chalo, theek hai.
So Shreyas,
I want to be.
You want to
I want to be. Ek second.
the child or
Just
the
Preet. No. I want to be the Harsharan. The father.
the father?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
let's
okay,
exchange
okay.
roles to really get a sense of the other gender.
So
Oh, of course. What else?
yeah, true.
I want to be.
Acting के मैं पैसे लेती हूँ guys.
Who do you want to be, Shreyas?
I can be this
Mother, no?
Mother, yeah.
You
sure.
be mother. So I'll be all the other characters.
Okay,
ठीक है?
Done.
Okay, हाँ. So, my mother does not work is what it says, okay? The title is that. Ma, we are going on a school excursion. Rosie ma'am needs volunteers. Can you take a holiday from office and volunteer?
Shonali, how can you say that? You know that Jaspreet auntie is up at 5 a.m. every day doing all the housework.
Harmeet's mother always comes for excursions because she doesn't work.
How can you say that? You know that Jaspreet auntie is up at 5 a.m. every day doing all the housework.
Yes, but that's not real work. It's just housework.
That's what you think, do you? Let's go over to the house and ask Jaspreet what she thinks.
I can be both boys.
Okay. Yeah.
Harsharan, Shonali thinks that your wife is not a working person.
But isn't that correct, auntie? My mother is a housewife. She does not work.
I like the laugh to be sure.
Then Jaspreet, why don't you just relax and let them manage everything for a change?
Great idea. Okay, I'll go on strike tomorrow.
What fun! We'll take care of everything tomorrow with Papa. Oh God, look at the time. Where's my nashta? Why aren't the children ready?
How would I know? I'm on strike. Remember, beside Mangala has also taken leave today.
Oh, fitte moo. That's a school bus. I'll have to drop them in the goddamn car. Hurry, Harmeet. Oh, switch on the pump, putter. Oh no.
But what about the kids' lunch boxes?
Oh no, मैं भूल गया सी. I forgot. Okay, I'll give you some money. Just buy something from canteen today, okay?
Ma already gave us money for that.
Evening, 6 p.m. Ding ding.
I'm exhausted. What about some tea? Oh, I forgot. You are on strike. चलो ठीक है मैं खुद बुला लेना. Oh, ओए की होया. The house looks like it was hit by a hurricane.
Did you expect it to remain exactly in the same condition in which you left in this morning?
हरमीत चाय दी पत्ती किथे है?
I wonder if they still believe I don't work. And now I have to remind them that Chacha ji and Chachi ji are coming for dinner.
Good ending also, huh? It's like, oh, a big event is coming up.
Yeah.
Very nicely done, Richa.
Thanks, I act for it.
You are-
course.
you
We
act
can't
for
be
a living.
surprised.
But very
I
interesting
really put
comic.
the spirit
Effort was
behind
good. Yes. Yeah,
this
yeah.
man. in the-
Precisely.
That's
This is why the comics exist in
also,
this book.
men, this is how we see you.
Very accurate description.
The thing is, I think it's like, I mean, this is funny and everything, but we were looking at this fact today. The $10.9 trillion is the value of all the unpaid housework that is done in the world that isn't paid for. That is
by
insane.
women. Yeah.
That is insane.
Like the amount of unpaid work that women do basically to essentially run a society. I mean, that's what it is, right? You know, like, and it is never counted. And I have seen this with my dad's uncles, wherever, and that is where my joint family problem also comes from, right? Where, like the men are just sitting around in the hall watching TV while the women are
Yeah.
toiling away in the kitchen.
And you know, if they didn't, I have 4 brothers and I'm the only daughter. If they didn't have a daughter, they would not have realized this. Because when I started growing up, I started being like खुद जाके ले आओ.
Yeah.
And I actually grew up in an all-male environment. So I never. So at the time I realized how much my mom worked, actually, how much work she did at the home or whatever. She was also a working lady. So she went out and sold insurance policies, etc. So the time I realized is when I moved to Delhi and when I had to do my own shit. Right. Till that point.
I mean, that's a very privileged example, but it's kind of not what I'm about to say is a privileged example is when the lockdown happened and everyone started crying about the jhadu poncha, the sale of that magic mop went up like 1500 times.
Right.
Because you realize कमर टूट जाती है बेड के नीचे घुस के पोंछा लगाने में.
It's true, and plus dishwashing, cooking, all of these things. But when I moved to Delhi, I couldn't afford a maid, right? Or like a maid name, domestic help. I couldn't afford one. So I had to do everything myself. एक तो मुझे घंटा cooking आता था, कुछ नहीं, चाय बनाता था, मैगी बनाता था, but मैगी कितना ही खाएगा ना? And like so because I was in a fellowship, I had to eat cheap also. So छोला भटूरा और मैगी के साथ तो कितना ही करेगा? तो then that is when I went back home and I saw my mom in the kitchen, like I just automatically ended up with her and helping her.
Got it.
Right. So and it happened automatically. It was not like a conscious choice after
I
that.
can't tell you how it would have made your mother weep with joy.
She did. Because I was like,
It's a
nahi, tu baith
real,
ja,
like-
main banayega. Like, why are you doing this? Chill na.
No, it's that point that I think most women wait for in their lives.
Yeah.
That one day he will realize.
Yeah.
So when that point is reached, I know it's very
Yeah.
emotional.
And now whenever, say for example, in a joint family, I go there and I see the men, the dads, etc. still doing that, which is like watching TV while the women are toiling. But me and my cousins who have lived alone, we go and immediately go to the kitchen and chill with the women, right? Like even if we are not doing anything, we just like talk to them and they feel very good that there is the kids are coming to talk to them, while the men are watching cricket or TV or whatever it is.
You should also next time don't just go there so that they feel happy that you're hanging out with them.
Do some work
Do some.
also.
Of course, like we try to, but like
Help
they
out.
don't let you.
Yeah,
also,
I know.
Right?
तू बैठ जा.
हाँ, exactly.
तू खाना कभी कभी तो
Exactly,
आता है.
right. Like तो थातुर मातुर तो मतलब like हाँ ये प्लेट इधर से उधर दे दो या फिर खाना बाहर परोस दो.
हाँ, like
that kind of thing they let us do.
Yeah.
But no cooking. And you can't come inside the kitchen and tell us what is happening, right? वो भी एक थोड़ा सा control freakiness भी आ जाता है वहाँ पे. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
वो भी
all
एक
you can
है.
make is tea and
But
Maggie.
it
What
must
will you do in
be
the kitchen anyway?
So nice for his mother to see मेरा बेटा बड़ा
Yeah,
हो गया.
बड़ा हो गया. Oh, did you have like experiences like these also? But you're a girl, as you said, you're like.
I mean, I had experiences where if someone visited us and my mom and dad were talking, then and if I was just sitting there with them in the same room as a kid, and my brother was also sitting there, it would often happen that the guy who's come would just look at me after 3 seconds ki pani
Oh,
chai.
yeah.
So this is what people keep
Wow.
talking about also, women. I didn't notice it as a kid because I was like, ठीक है मैं बड़ी हूँ इसलिए बोल रहा है.
Right.
Ideally the chota should get up and go and get.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean we'd eventually move out of that sitting arrangement anyway.
Correct.
But this is what I noticed. Or people, random people coming, like uncles coming and being like, मुझे तो रिचा की हाथ की चाय पीनी है. I'm like, you've never asked for it before.
Yeah.
You don't know if I'm a
Right.
good chai maker.
Right. Rat poison थोड़ा सा डाल के दे दिया.
नहीं वो नहीं. I didn't mind if I liked the uncle, then I would love to make tea.
Right.
But if it was an annoying uncle who
yeah.
only asked me about my board marks, then I didn't necessarily want to make chai for them.
Correct.
But these are very subtle things that I think only women notice and experience, right? Because
We are really hoping.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, even with the earlier point that I was trying to make, this street example, right? I never sort of had this perspective of, like the streets being unsafe for women, growing up at least. Because all boys, matlab friends are all boys, nobody talks about this, sab puntergiri kar rahe hai, whatever. But later, when a woman actually came up to me and explained this to me that look, this is what happens to us on the streets. Like this is like a spider sense that is constantly going on about your presence. You assholes, you're just standing there doing whatever, and we are constantly like this. Fuck, kya hone wala hai? Unless someone came and told me this, I did not experience it.
Because see, it's like I say, it's a default setting in society. You
Yeah.
can't also blame yourself beyond a point because
Right.
you're looking through your glasses right now,
Mhm.
right? I'm not gonna say kya chashma hai tekho kitna acha dikh raha hai.
Right.
It's just how you see the world.
Right, absolutely.
So if you are not unsafe,
Hmm.
you don't notice it.
Correct.
But when you become observant, then you see the body language of each and every woman on the road, inside an auto, inside a car, and you'll be able to tell from the amount of stress they are in at that point what is happening.
Now
It could
I do.
even be that a woman is very frazzled, trying to make a right turn, and someone who wants to go straight is also parked in the right turn and is honking non-stop.
Hmm.
It's like it's just everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's when I find it बहुत cute लगता है मुझे when we say how do you deal with it. You don't deal
Yeah, you
with
don't
it.
deal with it.
You're just like this is like gravity. It exists.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But that's what I was trying to say. That when I said
interestingly,
normalized
I
and-
want to. I fully hear you.
Mhm.
I'm saying that I just want, before I forget, want to
Sure.
talk about some. I saw this bunch of people either on Instagram or on Twitter. They used to run this community called Women Who Loiter.
Okay.
If you're hearing this, please get in touch with me. I've been wanting to find you, but I don't know where you are right now.
Mhm.
They used to just have women who would go like how men are. One day I was doing this exercise with Ali. Ali and me were driving, and he was like, so much traffic. And I was like, not a single woman. And it was like 12 in the afternoon. And women were, no woman was just standing around.
Right.
They always had to be somewhere.
Correct.
And there
Purposeful.
were men who, there was a sabzi seller. I was like, just notice the body language of the men. So there was a thela, uspe there was this, suppose this is the body of the sabzi seller. He was like hanging like this and hilling his ass on the road.
Right.
Okay, he was super comfortable. He was lazy. You could see the top of his
Right.
cleft because big belly, just hanging. So I was like, see, he looks comfortable. He's like, yeah, he looks really comfortable.
Yeah.
Then we walked and we saw one guy doing this,
Yeah.
one guy smoking, one guy scratching his balls, one guy
Yeah.
peeing, one guy running, and one guy running in a banyan on the road in the middle of traffic. क्योंकि
Right.
वहाँ एक्टर बनने के लिए बहुत लोग आते हैं और उस बेल्ट में आपको दिन के किसी भी टाइम somebody will be jogging
Right.
in peak traffic,
Right.
in the rain, whatever. I was like, Ali, did you see all this? And now you see the women. You have women who are walking with a register across their chest or with the backpack one in front. Or then women like me who are projecting a very outwardly confident body
Right.
language, being like, oh, stop the car, I need to park.
Yeah.
And you become observant and you see those things.
Correct.
But
But-
that's exactly what I was saying, right? Like this, when I said it's normalized, right, earlier, and you were like, this is so obvious to me, right? But for me, like until a few years ago, it wasn't that obvious.
Yeah.
Right, because I had to actively learn this, like to notice these things. Like as growing up as men and like surrounded by men, it's not like you are instinctively learning how to read a woman's body
Yeah.
language when
All
uncomfortable.
I'm saying is, don't blame yourself too much for it.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
blaming.
But
it's
we can't take this also onus personally.
Right.
no, absolutely, absolutely.
You're already doing this. That's what I meant by when I say glasses.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how you're seeing the world till something makes you, in so many ways.
Absolutely, it's a role of environment and experience, right? I mean, and if I didn't go to Delhi, if I didn't have that experience where I had to cook for myself, wash my own clothes, do all of that, I would never notice this, right?
Yeah.
Even still now, I would be an asshole not noticing these things, right? I'm not blaming myself, but I'm in a way glad that
That you
life
changed,
happened
yeah.
this way, right? Like where things happened that made me notice these things.
Yeah.
I feel like if we could induce these experiences in men, maybe that's a way to go. Like not force them to see it, but like induce them into environments where they see it.
I mean, if you notice even a woman in your house, like your mother or your sister saying ke, something very simple that we may hear every day. मुझे एक्सरसाइज का टाइम नहीं मिल रहा है या फिर मैं वो कुछ क्रिएटिव काम कर रही थी वो रुक गया मैं उधर जाना चाहती हूँ पर नहीं जा पाई अरे अपने लिए तो टाइम नहीं मिलता द मिनट यू हियर दिस नो that should be a red flag because it will eventually lead to a burnout. It is very difficult even with help at home because the number of things that are burdened on the Indian woman. If they want to make chutney, there's a possibility they'll have you seen The Great Indian Kitchen?
Yes.
Such a great example of जिंदगी सिर्फ ये नहीं होनी चाहिए ना कि सुबह उठ के नाश्ता क्या बनाए लंच क्या बनाए डिनर क्या बनाए. If you hear in COVID time, so many people were talking about this only. This life has to be bigger, bigger than this, na?
Yeah, absolutely. And pandemic actually maybe made people see this a lot.
Yeah.
Where men had to do so many things which they usually wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. And thank you COVID, I guess.
And like you saw all the men being like, oh, look at me, jhadu मैं use कर रहा हूँ, देखो, and they are thinking that we are superheroes now. But
fucking people are posting on Instagram how you are washing dishes. I'm like, boss, yeah, you should be doing that in general, right? Like sometimes.
काफी privileged, काफी tone deaf. उस दौरान नजर आए.
बहुत tone deaf. We have some time left, but I wanted Richa to spend some time with us talking about unpaid labor. Because that I think is the most important part of this chapter, right? I have some statistics that I pulled out. So for example, they have this statistic here, right? Which is from a 1998 study. 20 साल पहले का study you have pulled out this statistic, right? Where they are comparing Haryana and Tamil Nadu. Women paid work hours per week 23, women unpaid housework per week 30 और total करके 53 हो गया. Tamil Nadu 1935 54 हो गया. And men paid work hours it comes to 40 and 44, right? So which basically they want to show how disproportionate it is, where men are doing like 40 hours a week and 44 hours a week, where they're doing housework which is like nothing, while women are doing so much of unpaid housework. So I pulled out some stats from now. I mean, ये 20 साल पहले का क्यों है? I don't understand. Again,
this is a problem.
Yeah. So there is an NSS report which says that women spend around 299 minutes per day on unpaid domestic work.
I think that's ballpark accurate.
75% of the total unpaid work that is done by women is unpaid. 75% of the work that women do is unpaid. And also men earn 5x more than women in India.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
So, I mean, even when they are doing less work, they're earning 5 times more than women and that I feel is supremely unfair.
Yeah.
And women workforce participation right now is at 22%.
Participation in the workforce, I mean, this dwindling participation should be scaring us because it's like women dropping out of the workforce to take care of the house unpaid work because they can no longer afford a maid.
Yeah,
correct.
Absolutely.
That's what this is.
Absolutely.
So that's what should be more worrisome, that the domestic duties are so much higher that you choose not to bring in capital into the house.
But do you think that is changing? Like more men are willing to do unpaid labor,
in a certain
share
section.
the burden.
Cute metro sexys like you are doing.
Of course, I am.
And
I am a cute metro
he
sexy.
is also cute metro sexy.
Yeah, he's also.
You guys
cute.
are doing. Ali is doing.
Haan,
He's doing.
haan,
He's not opening car door, but he's cooking.
haan,
You know,
haan.
cleaning, picking up drapes.
My dad has started doing some work at home now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a unicorn.
Yeah.
Whenever we see an exceptional change, we will say this is a unicorn. Including the audience members.
Yeah.
We,
Which the non-existent.
I believe him that much.
Yes. No, but think about it. Like my dad, for example, he started making. So he only knew how to make chai during the pandemic. 1-2 दिन भूखा रहना पड़ा.
हाँ.
Right, mom नहीं थी या फिर COVID हो गया था यार लोगों को. Like my mom was also isolating, etc. He had to force himself to learn how to make dal and
Nice.
chawal and whatever. Now there are times when he only is like नहीं मैं बनाएगा. I'll make like dal today or whatever. Doesn't taste very well, but he's trying. I mean, like he's also like doing it. My mom, I've told her this so many times that please do not praise him for this. Please do not do this.
See, this should be normalized.
Yeah, it's like ये साला मतलब ये तो पहले से ही करना चाहिए था.
हाँ.
Like don't like, oh, so nice of you to do that. Why? Like you have been doing this for years. Finally he is doing it. Normalize करो इसको थोड़ा सा, right?
बिल्कुल.
And that is, I think, one kind of attitude change that has to happen just overall. There's this very interesting example someone had given me. Like, you know, you don't realize what a garam roti means.
Yeah.
Like a garam roti.
Of course.
Right? You know the context of what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So a garam roti, right, is a sign of patriarchy.
Hmm.
Right, where a woman is eating like old roti with loncha and all
Correct.
that, right? Achar and all
Right.
that. A man needs a garam roti.
Correct.
So whenever a garam roti comes to you, you have to realize that your mom is doing that because of patriarchy.
Right.
It's an added luxury. It's like
Yeah.
garam roti. While you sit, I have to stand and cook on the tawa.
Yeah.
It's not just basi roti or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that phula wa fulka that
right.
is
Pulava
rising
fulka, yes.
is because
The cost of that
somebody's-
is the freedom of
Yeah.
that person making
or
it then.
alternatively, if you have someone in your house who's doing that for you, you're like a maharaj or a chef or a cook or whatever,
Right.
then you're already rich and
Yeah.
you have other problems and patriarchy.
Yeah, and patriarchy, absolutely. Any last thoughts, Richa, that you want to tell the world, our existing audience? Okay, she is doubtful, but I know you exist.
I love all 5 of you.
But any last thoughts about this chapter or anything you want to say?
Last thoughts तो कोई क्या ही बोलेगा. That's always
खत्म ही नहीं होगा ये topic तो कभी, yeah.
Obviously, there's lots of things, but I do appreciate like the graphic novel bit. I think it's a cool way to talk about how, and these are things that most kids would be seeing in their houses,
Yeah.
all around them.
Yeah.
And even this bit, which we actually didn't discuss, lives of domestic workers.
Yeah, domestic.
About how you treat your help. You know, why is it, and why do we are very strange. We say कि वहाँ, when we speak about our NRI cousins, what do we say? वहाँ तो सब कुछ खुद करना पड़ता है. हाँ? On the one hand we say this, and on the other hand we say dignity of labor है. कोई झाड़ू भी लगाता है तो उसको बुरा नहीं लगता. This is very tied in to caste in India.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
And I feel like this chapter I appreciated for that reason, but because somewhere if you're a child and your own mother, she's yelling at the help and or not understanding, like you can't just wake someone up at 3 a.m, kick them and say पराठे बना दो मेरे लिए, मेरे दोस्त आए हैं दारू पीने.
Correct.
This happens, no?
Yeah.
So like those kind of things where you respect each other and you have a mutually respectful relationship
Yeah,
is a good point.
absolutely.
Yeah, this unpaid, where I really think it's far more.
Unpaid.
I want to speak about something finer actually.
Sure, go on.
I want to say when we speak about unpaid work also, there's work that you like suppose Meghnad and I are living together, okay? And we are in a relationship. I do 80% of the work and he does 20% of the work, and he
Right.
makes Instagram reels even when he makes
Right.
does 20% of the work, okay? Then one day he listens to this podcast and then he's like, no, I will now do 50% of the work.
Right.
But you do 50% of the work, but if you're gonna be like, hey, where's the number for that? Or if one cannot fully rely on you, at the back of my mind I know, oh, you have forgotten to pick up the
Right.
only cat food packet that my cat is addicted to, you've forgotten to pick up.
Right.
And she's gonna starve today, and then that is occupying a chunk of my brain.
Right.
That mental burden of, like, you do, if you want to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
Don't half-ass it, otherwise it's more work for the other person.
हाँ, फिर अपने को माइक्रो मैनेज ऐसे ही फोन पे करना पड़ रहा
then.
है.
Correct.
If this much part of my brain is occupied in doing 5 tasks, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know why most women say, रहने दो मैं खुद ही कर लेती हूँ. It's because of this.
It's less of a hassle.
It's more of a hassle to explain to the guy
yeah,
what
yeah.
needs to be done. If you're going to cook and be like this,
Yeah.
दी पत्ती कितनी
Yeah,
है?
yeah.
Where is haldi? Where is chawal? Where is jeera? Where
Yeah.
is maid का phone number? अरे वो phone, अरे यार. When you don't know things around you, take one day, learn it.
Correct.
But if you do this each time, literally every woman will be like, रहने दो मैं खुद ही कर ही लेती हूँ.
Yeah.
And that's not a sign of them being self-sacrificial.
No,
Right.
no.
Trust me.
Correct.
They are admitting that you are an idiot. You are such an idiot. You will not grasp that even this is load on me.
Right.
So you're
That's
not really
true.
give me a break.
Yeah.
So how do I converse with an idiot like that? There is no
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
possibility for
Yeah.
affirmation. So
Correct.
the minute a woman says, रहने दो मैं खुद ही कर लेती हूँ,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
You are a bigger idiot than you think. Then,
Yeah.
If that happens.
This is very fascinating. This is a realization I had very recently. Again, 2 years ago or something. Pandemic time pe, hi, right? And like, I realized I do this with my partner. Like, so I go to the kitchen. I'm doing things like I'm cooking and all that. But every time it's like, hey Shoini, where is this thing? You know, like, please tell me. And then that look on her face. You know, like why can't you find this yourself, sort of a look.
Yeah.
Like whatever. Then I actively made it so in my head that whenever I had, oh, where is this, I should ask. No, do not ask her. Find it yourself, right? Find it yourself. Find it. There are so many things I used to do where I just by default I assumed she would know,
Yeah.
but sometimes she wouldn't know either, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to like again retrain myself to not depend on her to find little things. You know, like even that is a very important sort of a thing which I think came very later in my life to me, and it was horrifying. And I absolutely get where you're coming
Yeah.
from.
I mean, this is still a sweet example. I'm talking about people who like, if you're traveling with them, you have their boarding pass, and everybody's been sent the boarding pass, but they'll call you as your flight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah.
That
It's
give
almost
me,
like a secretary position is there.
yeah, automatically.
Yeah.
And if women are more organized, shouldn't be a punishment
Yeah.
for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, one thing has to be said. Women on average score much higher than men in schools
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
Always has been the case, and the margin is substantial
Yeah.
in passing percentage in marks.
Yeah.
Women do more work at the house.
Right.
I really want to reimagine a world where women do actually do more work outside, because I think that is the only thing we need to save the
Yeah.
planet. Most men have had a great chance at.
They
Correct.
had a
And they've
great
lost it.
time. Yeah.
It's done.
It's not, I mean, we are really living through the 6th mass extinction right
Yeah.
Yeah.
now. It's missing from headlines and yeah, I mean, figure yourself out later. But you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
sometimes I
absolutely.
really do wish and I love men. It's but patriarchy hurts men much more than men would even know.
Patriarchy makes men idiots. That's what I believe.
Patriarchy
also.
is the reason why a guy with 50 rupees in his pocket will be afraid to ask out a girl also, because he'll assume that she will want him to pay
Yeah.
for a date.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's a good example.
Yeah,
of it.
it ruins men and they don't see it.
Hmm.
Patriarchy is the reason why a man becomes an accountant and not a singer, as he had hoped,
Right.
because he has to
Right.
Feed a family and do
not
all that.
not just feed a family,
Expectations.
also uske baap ne bola hai.
हाँ,
And they have to, you know, no woman has been like, no, you will become an accountant and not get married. You will not get married, but you will instead become an accountant. Most women will be like, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'm happy to be an accountant.
Yeah.
If those are the only two options, you know, I'm happy to be an accountant. When I'm a great accountant, I can marry whoever I want.
Yeah. I'm great at finances as well.
Yeah.
So, like, why not?
Yeah, why not? So, I mean, I really think that patriarchy, the core thing in gender studies I find of all kinds is that toxic masculinity and patriarchy really hurt men and the planet much more. Imagine.
You know, this just reflects so badly on men also, that we have talked about all the ways in which patriarchy hurts women, but really to appeal to the men, we have to make it seem like it's your problem only. Like it's also hurting you to get them invested.
It's primarily hurting men. With women, it's they just men, poor guys. They die sooner. They can't cry. They can't do what they want really.
Yeah. That's
You
actually
can't
very
do
true.
what you want. You're not free.
Lost his teddy bear. It's
Yeah.
He
lost my
lost
teddy
his teddy bear. Right now he's smiling, but that day he
He's
must have
crying
been really
inside,
sad.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You know, or that you have to play sports, or
Huh.
it's just You're
those
the sole
expectations.
breadwinner. You
Yeah.
have to make more money than your wife. You have to make more money than the neighbor. You have to have a bigger car.
Right.
This one has, his wife has a better bag, so you have to buy one for your wife.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just this weird,
Pressure.
everything
It's like a cage that
descends
you're trapped
into
in. Yeah.
when you are also as afflicted by patriarchy as you may not know you are. Everything descends to a pissing fest,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then you don't give those guys nuclear codes.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
And this is what happens.
And you know, if you're maybe a person who is listening to this who did not have a good school life, you know, like this expectations, right, where you need to be athletically strong, a man, like, and you should be like academically, ये because
Yeah.
तुझे family support करना है, etc. But you were not able to do it, and there was this societal pressure on you throughout that you are a failure because of this, because तेरे से कोई शादी नहीं करने वाला है,
Yeah.
तेरे से कोई पटने नहीं वाला है, तेरे पॉकेट में अभी 50 रुपए तो किसी को डेट पे नहीं लेके जा सकता, right? And that is what is fucking sucky, right? You know, like if you are someone who is listening to this and a child who is going through this, please understand, not your fault. It is
Really
fault.
not your fault, and it's not unique. Everyone has this fear of how will I survive? Will I ever make enough to feed
Right.
my family?
Yeah,
But-
absolutely.
You know, if even engineering students were told that you have multiple efforts you can take to get into IIT.
Correct.
Like you can be like IAS aspirants or UPSC aspirants. You can just take as many these things because you should not be in a hurry to get a good placement or provide for your family or move
Right.
to the US and live in Jersey in an apartment and work for a tech company. I think there would be fewer suicides. They really would. You know, the number of if you look at stats, they're very worrying.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I get worried about electoral autocracy and mortality, but I get very worried when people say that we are only a little bit better than Afghanistan in terms of our happiness index. Those are things that should worry us. So if that happens, if you're not happy, if you're not satisfied, if you're not feeling a fulfilled life, if you're always in fear of the regime, of your family, constantly worried about approval, then what part of society is telling you that your only measure of success is financial or in a rank or in an award? You know? Why is like you have to start questioning everything, and I really think that COVID has made people question a lot of things. I mean, we lost the people we lost, and there's a unnecessary purge and cruelty, but fir bhi we have to take from this and really try to make a serious change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point to end this at.
Yeah.
And Shreyas, if you have anything else to add.
I just hope that 300 years from now, this episode is listened to being like, can you imagine how different the world was then? And look at the world now. It's a
Yeah.
matriarchy. Men are doing all the household work.
Yeah.
It's just a hope, you know.
When 3
300
million people have heard this podcast.
3 million?
And, you know, like, they're,
Almost
like,
there.
questioning.
But to be honest, when you said 300, I really assumed it was the number of active listeners you had.
But now after saying that, again, I'm realizing that I want it to be 300 years later because I don't have to do the work now. So actually, no, it should be from tomorrow, not 300 years later, tomorrow onwards.
Yeah,
change starts.
if two people do the X amount of hard work, it's X by 2. It takes lesser time for everyone. Everyone has more free time.
True.
Then watch a movie, play a game, whatever.
Absolutely. That's great advice from Richa. I feel like that was great wisdom from you also. Thank you for doing this so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
You
much
came
for
in the
coming.
rain, and I know Bombay is not exactly the best when it rains.
No, there is tree pruning happening.
Tree
I don't
pruning
know.
happening.
Because हर बरसात में कुछ पेड़ों का कुछ गिरता है
गिरता
there,
रहता
you
है.
know. So they prune them, and that causes a massive jam, and no one cares at that point.
Right.
They're like tree pruning.
Yeah, like पेड़ और standards गिरते रहेंगे, लेकिन हम ये podcast से आपका standard बढ़ा रहे हैं. So you're welcome, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, Richa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had fun, guys.
Yes.
Amazing.
Do share the screenshot of your list.
Or
Yes,
data.
and thank you. One thank you again to our listeners, to our viewers who, by the way, Richa thinks you guys are too good to be true. You don't exist.
Please
Let's see if you
spam
do.
her.
Spam her.
Spam her. Tell her that
Yes.
you're listening to How to Citizen, and there should be millions of you. Okay, thanks. Bye.